Hi and welcome to another episode of eCommerce One. And today's guest is Callum McKeefery. Now, Callum is the CEO of Reviews.io, whose focus is to help companies collect more reviews from their customers. How you doing, Callum?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good.
Good, good, good. Well, what Callum doesn't probably know or remember is that we actually met about 8 years ago. I think
Mm,
you were quite new into your journey in the agency or
yeah,
in Reviews.io, and I was very much at the start of my journey with our agency. I'm trying to recall exactly the event, but I think you had probably one of your first exhibition stands at maybe like eCommerce Expo or
was it eCommerce Expo at the NEC?
I think it was, yeah, or
Did,
IRX at the NEC, was it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did
So
we have a table football machine and a? I
I
can't
think
remember.
it's quite inspiring because I remember you literally like you were very new, as you know.
Yeah,
We all, and I think you had like a 3x3, and it was just yourself chatting, pretty
yeah.
much. And then
Oh, it was.
we had a little chat, just a very brief chat sort of thing. And I've been sort of keeping an eye on your journey ever since. And obviously now, that's probably eight. I think you were like nine and change into your journey, but that was like
Yeah.
probably in your first year.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
yeah. And I remember you were obviously dead chatty to her. It was like pretty crazy busy, so like a lot of these expos are. And obviously, fast forward 9 years later,
Wow.
here we are.
I, you know what we did? We've never done. We're not great at expos, and I'm not going to claim that we are. But those first few really stick in my mind and was just a pure hustle. We didn't have
Yeah,
any money. We had no budget. It was literally putting stuff on the credit card to get there.
yeah, yeah,
And I wouldn't book the space until like 2 days before because we couldn't afford it.
yeah,
So we'd just say to the companies, keep ringing them 2 days before. Have you got any space? Have you got any space? Any last minute space? And I can remember like both IRX and Ecom Expo, I ended up with like last minute space.
yeah,
And it was like, oh, it was so raw.
yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah,
I'd literally be there packing my car full
yeah.
of stuff,
Like,
turning
or
up.
trying to find a cheap hotel and
Yeah. No,
yeah,
we couldn't afford a hotel. We couldn't afford a hotel. We had to drive home.
yeah.
It it was it was insane. Like I can remember doing one in London, the big one in London, and we couldn't afford a hotel.
Yeah.
So we literally drove home every night to Leicester from London, which is like 120-mile trip home every night, and then I'd leave out at 4 in the morning to get there again. This little
Yeah. So
brilliant.
we're sort of 8 years on from
Yeah,
that first or second expo with your maybe 2x2 stand
yeah,
and use
yeah.
everything you own on a table in effect, which
No,
is
it literally was like that. It really was. I mean, we really hustled,
yeah,
and I think like I'd speak to like I'm sorry if I can't remember the conversation because I'd literally go, oh,
yeah. No, I can remember it. What it was a bit like that. I was like, hi, and then you were like swamped. It was busy, and I can remember that.
yeah,
It was literally like a 30-second thing.
yeah,
Chat, and then I remember, and then
oh,
obviously I see what you're doing now. I see what your brand is doing now, and
yeah.
obviously 8 years later brings us quite nicely. Tell us, how did you become the CEO of Reviews.io?
So it was a really long journey for me, really, to not to get to where we are now, to even get to the start of Reviews.io. So I started off I started off when I came straight out of uni. We started a web development agency, and we got to the .com crash, and no one wanted to pay their bills.
Yeah,
And one of the clients who I'd done a lot of work for was this online appliances retailer, and they literally turned around to me and said, "We're not paying." And I'd spent 6 months creating this amazing site for them. We'd done all the marketing, done everything, and got it just literally to launch day. And they said, "Nope, not paying." And I was like, "I've got all this stuff to pay." And I went, "You know what? I'm going to do it myself." And they went, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "No, we're going to have to run this site." So literally, I put it online with a checkout on it and everything. And then literally the next day, we started getting some orders. And I was like, oh my gosh, now I need to facilitate these orders.
yeah,
So I literally had to go out and get accounts with all the online appliance, appliance retailers. I went to Italy to sign up Smeg. I got Neff, and got all these really big companies to supply me. I went off and leased a massive warehouse, bought 15 vans, literally really quickly, all from. I was using the sort of the customer's money. Back then I was on a 14-day delivery time, and I was using the customer's money to sort of finance it, and luckily it worked out. And I managed to pay the staff, we ran the company, and I managed to run that company for a couple of years, and then I sold it to a larger company. And what I learned throughout that was that reviews were super important. So I had this thing in the back of my head, reviews were important. We built a review engine into this business. Back then there was no e-commerce platforms to use. There was no Magento, there was no Shopify. So we had to build a custom e-commerce platform, and we built a custom reviews engine, and had a break. And I literally I used to buy a lot of domain names as well. So I had the opportunity to buy reviews.co.uk, and I took it, I purchased the name, and then later on I got reviews.io. And I didn't do anything with the domain for such a long time, and I tried a couple of things. I launched a couple of MVPs where we were actually we were doing it as a magazine and with professional content. And then we did an MVP, just collecting reviews for one company. And that kind of worked. So we thought, we're onto something here. Kind of developed it out, got a few clients. We got Euro Car Parts was one of our first clients, and we started to land bigger and bigger clients and develop the solution. So the solution we started with was really not anything like the solution we've got now. And kind of that's how kind of brought us into the review space. But it was really from me seeing it from the relationship online retailer point of view. It was really that really got us to where we were. So I had insights of being the retailer as well as the review company, and I think that's helped us develop our culture to be a lot friendlier to e-commerce businesses and their requirements.
Okay, so I think like a lot of business, I love that story, that sort of origin story of the fact that you're just trying to figure it out, and then it's like, obviously you did this work for a client at the time, and that all went a bit pear-shaped, but it's like that mindset of, right, we've got to figure this out. Have you figured that out, got in and out of that? But then it's like, this reviews thing sort of niggling at you. How can we then, turn that into a business? And then literally, no doubt, it's a very basic, product proposition, but it's the start of the journey. And then here we are today. So today, obviously, you span across multiple countries.
So we're in Australia, USA, in California, Sydney in Australia, Berlin in Germany, and sunny Leicester in the UK, which is a strange place to have your headquarters for a tech company. Like, we get rang by all these Silicon Valley venture capital companies, and they come on the phone and they go, "Where are you?" Like, they think I'm in San Francisco. We'll just come and meet you. And I'm like, we're in Leicester, just opposite the Holiday Inn, next door to Subway. And they're like, what are you on about?
I can imagine.
And it's kind of been, when we first started, I tried to raise venture capital. We went out and looked at it, and it really slowed down our development time. And I was like, no, this isn't working for us. I'm not spending enough time with our clients, enough time on the product. So I said, I've got to stop doing this. I'm going to bootstrap. I'm going to go my own route. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to us that we did that, because it actually helped us go on our own path. There's no way we would have taken venture capital and been able to go down the route that we've actually gone on, because they would have been too focused on the revenue. And we've done a great job because of that. But when you're dealing with these companies, it was just so funny. I'd walk in, I've got a pretty Leicester accent, and I'd be like, hey, you know. And it was quite funny. Basically, they laughed us out of the room because we were husband and wife, and at the time that was the biggest no you could get, and we was based in Leicester city centre.
Yeah,
but such a good thing for us.
Tough on them now, because obviously things are going very well for
yeah, we're seeing massive growth. We're at 10 million revenue now, and we're growing quite quickly still. And we're really happy with what we've got. We've got such a good culture. We've really worked hard on that to work out what e-commerce businesses actually want out of a review platform instead of forcing down their neck something that they.
That's partly why I wanted to get you on. Not also I wanted to have like an 8-year catch up, but I think it's just very, from my point of view, obviously we represent a lot of e-commerce brands, within our agency, and obviously the people that listen to the podcast. And when we see a lot of brands out there that are offering services and solutions to e-com stores, we're sort of keeping an eye on a lot of different brands out there. But your own marketing, I actually think is amazing. I really do. I do, and I think obviously you're sort of what's the word I'm looking for? But obviously you're all about reviews, and you're leading with reviews, and people are reviewing you very consistently. People I know just by pure chance, somebody else that I had on the podcast a few weeks ago from your print partner, but very large. Very large e-com store. He put a review of your review system on like 4 days ago, and he was on the pod. He was on it 10 weeks ago. The stuff you're doing with your remarketing, we'll touch on that in a bit. And your paid ads.
It is amazing. It's kind of coming together at the minute, really. I think that the space has changed massively, and we were not very lucky. We worked bloody hard, and we really focused on sort of what the customer needed, what the customer wanted.
Yeah.
And we delivered that. So what we did, we built brand advocates. Yeah. We not just delivered a review platform, we delivered knowledge as well. So if people rang up and asked, oh, what should I do? I've got this problem. My ads I've got ad fraud, or you know what I mean? I've got this problem. We'd always give them the advice. And that built these advocates of the brand, that we were the good guys, and that's amazing. Some of our clients are just love the product.
Yeah, and that's very evident.
It's in a tough space. We've got.
It is. I can see that.
There's big players out there who have had hundreds of millions of VC money, and little kid from a council estate in Leicester's giving him a good run for the money. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. But I don't play that card. It's not. I am going after them, but I pay a lot of credit to my CTO.
I've seen your paid ads. I can see you going after them.
yeah. I mean, my ads are the ad marketing team. We run kind of 2 sets of ads: the nurture ads and the aggressive ads.
Yeah.
And the more aggressive ads seem to be doing very well at the minute.
You're poking in a certain area that's obviously is quite a hot topic. I think
it's a sore point. It kind of needs to be called out. The bit that I call out a lot is these long contracts that e-commerce companies sign with partners and providers, SaaS providers, that really they shouldn't be, because as we've learned over the last 10 months, the world is. It changes so fast, and you've signed these 12.
You can't pivot, nimble, all that stuff that you need to be able to do quickly. But I guess that's where where you being self-funded, you can make those decisions literally like that. VC funded, you've got people. There's a lot more people.
They're like a yacht. I'm like a speedboat. They're like an ocean liner with loads of containers on top, slowing them down. I treat myself like it.
So they'll see your ads, and then it'll probably take 9 meetings and 3 months to be able to react to them. Whereby then you'll be on to the next thing. And so
I think they see my ads and call me up and go, "Please stop running that ad."
Yeah.
Physically, that is what happens. They go, "Callum, look, can you do me a favor? Can you stop running those ads, or can you I've had the CEO of Trustpilot tell me to calm down.
So what I would say, guys, if you're listening to the podcast, go to Callum's site, so reviews.io, and then the next thing you know, you're going to be followed around by various versions of ads. And
we have a couple of retargeting ads, yeah. I mean, we change. We're evolving all the time, and we're evolving our marketing all the time, and it's just part of the story for us. And with a lot of those ads, we're just trying to get people into the top of the funnel, to get a conversation, to go, actually, we're different, and this is why we're different, and this is what we're doing differently.
Get them on the demo calls,
and
they'll see.
I mean, we don't do any outbound. We don't do any outbound. All of our clients are word of mouth, or come in inbound. Whereas, you know, our competitors are all outbound. I mean, my business model really, when developing reviews, has been to do exactly the opposite of what my competitors do, and it's kind of worked every time. And I didn't know that we were doing exactly the opposite until a couple of years ago, and I was like, every time they do that, we shift this way, you know, like.
Okay, so if I've got so many questions to ask you.
Fire away.
So obviously reviews, something that we've, you know, as an agency owner, it's something that's been a big part of, you know, any e-com stores that we work on, and with making sure that they've got that functionality. You know, why are reviews so important? You know, why are they so important still?
It's a trust thing. You know, we, even if, you know, years ago, before the dawn of the internet sort of thing, you'd really, when you were going into a shop, you'd go in and buy something based off the trust of one of your peers, someone who you knew. Oh, you know, Clark's shoes are good. They're really, you know, that kind of recommendation. And what Review Online have done is just move that forward into the digital age. And really, we're trying to create a flywheel effect with reviews. So really, the review is the first part of the journey. So the review is left, and then you're using that review to attract more customers. And you're using that review in your marketing and your social proof to bring more people into your business. In an efficient way, and in a repeatable way. So we've really sort of taken on board that whole process, and what that's the funnel, sorry, not the funnel, the flywheel that we've built our business around. So, right, we can help you at this stage, then we can help you at this stage, and we now, one of our latest products, it creates social proof for you that then you can use your reviews to create really interactive images that then can be used on Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. So it's trying to use this flywheel to get more people into your business at a quicker rate.
What really stands out about your brand for me is that innovation piece. Obviously, I think reviews, I think, you know, a lot of people, like you said, it's like, well, people buy off people they trust, their friends, and they trust their opinion. So a review online, you know, it's like, right, it's actually somebody's used their service and they've reviewed it. So, you know, you look at the review, is that a real review? There's always that little, and I think there's that piece that'll be good.
That's the biggest problem for us. That what you've just said is it a real review? Now, what I've thought about this for years. How do I make reviews look, you know, how a text review is a text review is a text review. So what we did, we looked at photos and we looked at video. Now, you can't fake photo reviews, and you can't fake video reviews at the same scale that you can text reviews. Now, we have some amazing text review technology to stop fakes, but even so, it's like this constant war. So we're trying to get not our clients, but the customers of our clients now to leave more rich media like photos and videos that really shows that they're genuine, that they're actually showing their experience. And that's been massive for us, and I think that's kind of the way the industry is moving very, very quickly.
Very, very innovative.
Because you can actually see how somebody's using this product in their life,
Yeah.
or you can see how passionate they are when they talk about that product. And that's, you can't fake that. You can't fake passion. If someone's, I seen a video review yesterday of some guy reviewing, the company's called Whiskey World. They sell whiskey online. And this guy was reviewing the company and the whiskey. And it was so authentic. And it was an older gentleman, and you could tell he's like,
whiskey. Yeah.
This is his first video review. And it was just so authentic. And I was like, this company has probably 10,000 reviews, but this one video review.
It'll be incredible. The amount of people that will relate to that guy. Who is that? Who are that guy? That age, that a man of a certain age that's like, oh yeah, this guy said.
It's beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It was something that, for them, is probably more important than those 10,000 reviews, text reviews.
Yeah.
So, and it's about, for us, keeping ahead of that, keeping ahead of
innovation, moving, investing all the time. Obviously, because you're not investors, etc. You and your team are making those decisions, those quick decisions. What the roadmap is, what the tech roadmap is.
There's some hard bits in that everyone thinks, I can just collect a video review. Well, you can't. There's a lot of tech that goes behind the scenes. What if someone gets naked on the video at the end, and you're like, you've got to create tech that looks at all that. And
you actually discussed that in your meeting, did you, with your team? So what? That was it.
What do we do when we get a picture of a penis? How are we going to spot this? And it was literally like an episode out of Silicon Valley, the show, where they did that app where it's not hot dog. I haven't seen
it, but I know where you're headed.
Yeah. So we watched that. I watched that episode and I was like, that's like what we had to do. So yeah, it's kind of good in that way. But we're very innovative and we're trying to push the industry forward, and that's where we need to be.
Sort of from my background is sort of that SEO PPC piece, and obviously from an SEO perspective, you're getting that user created, rich, unique content that's very, it's been written by a human, and regular, consistently. They're discussing their experience with a fresh pair of eyes, and what's happening there and then. So you get that rich media in terms of text, but then, move on several years, you've got the video piece, the social capabilities, which is where your focus is at the moment.
But that thing plays into the SEO, because images then get indexed, videos then get indexed, and it kind of all plays into the SEO landscape. It's all part of the same package. It offers the benefits. I mean, when people search now, you look on Google and put anything in, a video pops up. Image search has gone up massively.
Image search, video search, the different, there's a lot of different search result pages now, isn't there, where video is huge.
You've got to be in all of them. You can't just be on the first page of Google for your term. You've got to now be on all of these different ones. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. You've got to be, the big one for us is, obviously Google Shopping is massive at the minute now. They've made it free and they've done all these things. So, it's about having your product reviews on Google Shopping. So important, because you're getting your name there for free.
It's amazing when you look at shopping's our core, it runs through our veins in effect, and the amount of people that don't even have reviews set up, or they're not using the CSS platform, or they've not got it on picked into the services for the free aspect now, and it's just some very quick. All those things are very quick wins.
E-commerce has to have product reviews. I don't. I'm an advocate of reviews that I owe the brand. But I don't really care if you go and use another review solution, as long as you do it, because it will increase your business. If I look at an e-com site and it doesn't have reviews, when they say, "Oh, Callum, did you have a look at our site? What did you think?" The first thing I say is, "Guys, you've got to get some social proof on those pages. You've got to get some user-generated content. It'll increase your conversion.
You're working with literally thousands, tens of thousands of clients that are using reviews. So you're saying you do see a correlation between the success of firms that are using reviews as against the ones that aren't using reviews?
Massively. I literally just seen an email from a guy this morning who sells, bizarrely, glass and perspex pedestals that you put memorabilia on in America.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a display stand.
Display pedestal things.
Pedestal, yeah.
His email came back today. We just got him his product reviews in Google. Just got him everything set up, running really nice for him.
Yeah.
He's seen a 35% increase in conversion month on month from the month before to now. I think it was September to October.
Yeah.
In the US, he saw a 33 or 35% increase in conversion.
Yeah.
And he's flying. He's set up now for Christmas. He's going to do a great holiday period.
Yeah.
It does play a part. It does play a part. People say, "Oh, well, it won't work for my brand," but I've not found an online brand yet that it doesn't work for.
I think back to the, like you say, that initial piece of where do you buy your stuff from? Well, we buy primarily on recommendation now. Yeah, friends and family definitely. But if there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of positive reviews about a brand, you're going to take note, aren't you? It's not like,
of course,
you might question the odd one in there, like anything. You're like, a little bit skeptical about the odd review, maybe, like we say. But the reality is, if there's a sheer volume of consistent, you're looking at the dates when they came in. Actually 20 reviews from yesterday and 20 from the day before, and there's that newness to it. And that sort of, it's not just the same thing like great company. It's the whole variety and use of language. It can't not. And I think that's the same in any business, whether it's e-com or not. From a B2B point of view for our agencies, our industry is so tainted as an agency life. An agency world is a lot of our companies that work with us because they've had a bad experience elsewhere. So they come to us and they're all a bit like, still not sure, because they've had quite a bad experience.
Yeah.
And then they look at our reviews. Obviously, we don't actually use personally an actual system like yourself.
Yeah.
We collect them manually, sort of thing. But we get the people on video, like you say. Somebody and nearly every single time that we end up in a meeting about new business, we will sort of refer to somebody that we know we've had a review from and sort of say, look, we work with a company very similar to you guys. Actually, there's a video here. We make a point of actually manually collecting videos from, whether it's, electronics company.
What you're doing there, you're building a connection between from your past customer to your potential customer. Exactly what you just said. And that's what reviews does.
Yeah.
And when you build that connection, you shorten the sales cycle.
Yeah.
Whether you're buying a pair of shoes or you're taking out an e-commerce agency plan. All you're doing is building that connection, and then you're shortening the sales cycle. And that's why it's so important. And I think you're exactly right. You in what you're doing, even if you're just doing it yourself. I'm a big advocate of reviews, whether they're done by us or in your case, hi, can you leave us a testimonial sort of thing? And I'm a big advocate of all of that.
So I think guys that are listening in, it's pretty straightforward. You've got to get a review system in place. Obviously, we'll link up and you can have a look at Callum's system, or platform, should I say. But even if you're just getting started out, reach out to some of the customers on a manual basis.
Yeah.
I think that is sometimes the challenge, how to encourage people to leave a review. What's some of the advice you can give there to try and, I think it's all right saying, go and ask for a review, but then they don't give you one. Then what sort of things can you do to really give them a little jibby?
So we've tried, probably in a day, I'll probably send out a couple of million emails in a day now. Collecting reviews, it is easy and it gets overcomplicated sometimes. Keep it really simple. That's my first bit of advice. Keep how you ask for a review, keep it very simple. Make it as easy as possible for your customer to leave you a review. Whether that's using a platform or whether doing it yourself. Make it as easy as possible. Keep the email as short as possible. Shorter the email, the better it is.
Yeah.
Don't incentivize, because incentivizing for a review, we've tested this. some of our peers, some companies who we compete with, actually advocate for incentivizing. I think incentivizing, one, damages your brand, because now that person doesn't trust your brand as much, because they think, oh, are those reviews I left, did he incentivize those?
£50 voucher or whatever.
So don't incentivize. Offer a great service. Timing is super important. If you're running the business, try just jot down where your customer's happiest point is. Is it as soon as they receive the product? Is it as soon as you've got them on the first page of Google? Work out where that customer's happy point is. And then hit that point. Do you know what I mean? That's go after it right there and then.
Depending on what you sell, or where they're sort of at their optimum experience with you, whether it's just like say you've just gotten to page one of Google, or they've just received their shoes in the post, and they just tried them on and they fit perfectly. So that after that evening, hit them with their first.
Timing is huge. Timing is probably the second most important thing apart from the message. So get the messaging right, get the timing right, you will get conversion. And then it's all about publishing that review, wherever you want. And what we do at reviews.io, we have some really clever systems now that help you publish that review. We publish into Google, so you get the gold stars, the gold seller ratings. We also automatically publish your reviews into Facebook and Twitter. But now we've also got a solution that actually creates an image based around the review that you can really customize, and that can be then used on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. So getting that review is the easy bit. Making it in and extracting that value. It's like a review is like an orange. You've got to give it a good squeeze and then get the value out of it. That's what you've got to do. And I think if you can do that, you can really create an efficient flywheel to build a connection between your potential customer and your past customer again. And that's the key.
Brilliant. Some great takeaways there, Callum. Thank you. So I'll just go back to that innovation piece again. I know obviously on your platform, you like we said, you're always innovating, and you touched on your sort of social proof side of things, but you've also got an influencer side, haven't you, to the platform? Tell us about that. I'm really intrigued. It's something I'm very, very interested in personally from an agency point of view. This sort of
So our influencer solution, it took me years. I had this massive problem, and every time I went on holiday, I'd always take a notepad with me, and I'd go, "I'm going to fix this problem this time." And my wife would be like, "You're obsessed.
We're on holiday.
You're on holiday. There's something wrong with you. You're obsessed." And I'd always try and figure out, right, how the big problem with online is you don't really know who you're dealing with. And that's the problem that I was trying to solve is, who is the most powerful brand advocate that you have made happy, who has a huge amount of social currency online? Who's the most powerful advocate you've got? So I spent absolutely, I had so many hours, days and months working on this problem, drawing pictures on boards that would go nowhere, and I'd rub it off, and I'd be like, I was like Rain Man for a few months. And then it kind of came to me one day that, right, we'll use what we've got to leverage some of our back catalogue of reviewers, and we've got to now see who is the most influential on Instagram. And we then were able to now identify that this person is, for instance, I've seen some absolutely huge ones. So one of the companies we deal with a lot is a company called Boxraw, which sells boxing equipment, really cool tracksuits and hoodies and all wraps. And they were getting like some of the world's biggest boxers, world champions, buying from them, and they didn't even realise. And we were able to identify these people and go, actually, that guy who gave you that review, that's Terence Crawford, WBO champion of the world. And they'd be like, what? Or I did one for a furnishings company, and they had like massive influencers actually buying their products, and they didn't know. And we
Yeah.
were able to identify that influencer, and sort of rank their brand advocates by their power. And they were able to then build relationships with these brand advocates. They could, see who they are. One, if you've got loads of customers, you can see who they are, and then do follows, and you can try and build relationships up. And it was just a great solution. Technically, it's a very difficult one to explain.
But the bottom line is, if I am a retailer and
Yeah,
I am getting reviews or people are buying my product, your system enables me to see who the sort of influencer score is. Would that be
yeah, it
would that
kind of is an influencer score.
yeah,
We just rank off. So you can go, right, who's the most influential person this week who's purchased? And you
yeah,
can see that, and then you can go, right, I'm going to try and, my influencer team, most companies now,
yeah,
if they're, if they get to about the 50-person size, most e-coms then have someone purely looking after social media and influencer.
yeah,
That report would go to them, and they'd use it to build relationships with these brand advocates, because they're not just normal customers. These people have wrote positive reviews on them.
yeah, yeah.
So that
They're already
it's
brand. They already
power.
love the brand. They bought and left a positive review. So
They're
that
already
step
advocates.
is to see if there's some.
Engage, and that's what that solution is actually called. We call it discover, and engage, and promote. There's 3 elements to it, and it's such a powerful solution. And the
Yeah.
companies that use it and use it well, we've seen dramatic growth from those
And
companies.
that's completely new territory for me. That's not something. I mean, I see obviously with doing the research for this podcast that you guys do that, but I've not actually seen that before. It's
It's
like,
pretty fresh.
yeah, amazing. That it really is amazing, because I just
It,
that
it's
you'll
so
get,
good.
yeah, that they've already had that positive experience with you. They've bought from you. They've left a review. So it's natural that they'll be probably quite excited that the brand has reached out to them, as well as the brand being excited to have a
That's what I
conversation.
mean.
Yeah, so
You've
it's
got
win-win.
this.
It's win-win, isn't it? Again.
You've just took sort of you've turned the light on, and there's all these influencers in the room.
Yeah.
The companies that we deal with didn't have this visibility before. And I'm talking, like, one of our clients who uses it is a massive, they're a multi-billion-dollar e-commerce company, and they're like, we've got 14 people on our influencer side, Callum, and you've just
We've now got something for them to do. They've got a list of people to connect with.
Actually, they kept them on, and they were able to build. They were probably building a couple of relationships a week, and now they're able to build absolutely loads. And they're able to. That company's actually doing. They're doing Black Friday at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, Black Friday coming this week, but what they've actually been able to do is give their influencers early access to the sale. So they're actually bringing the solution that we've built for them into their marketing more. So they're saying, like, these are our influencers, these are our brand advocates. Instead of just treating the people who spend the most with us like gold,
that's brilliant.
Let's treat these guys.
Yeah, and they're amplifying it again before the gates are open, almost for Black Friday.
Yeah. You're letting your market do your advertising for you, and it's a new way of looking at it, and I think it's the future of really how online retail will evolve over the next couple of years. I think we're ahead of the curve on it, and I think it's going to be a big thing. Early adopters are all over it. There's some companies out there that we deal with that are like, oh, it's good, but it's not for us right now. And they're not probably the right companies to be using anyway.
Yeah. So I think we've touched on a lot of sort of very innovative different things that you've feathered through the business. And obviously that keeps you very competitive in a fairly competitive industry with a lot of big moneyed companies.
Yeah.
So what else do you do in your business to stay competitive? Obviously, you're innovating all the time. Is that sort of where you physically head that up? You're sort of in charge of that sort of roadmap and.
So I manage the roadmap with a couple of our senior developers and our COO who's in Australia. And
Can I just stop you for 1 second? We seem to have got some interference somewhere on the recording. Shut my mobile phone. Can you hear anything at your end?
yes. Hold on, let me try. Is that better now?
No. Oh, that was. Well, it is now. Yeah. No, it's back again.
Okay, let me.
Not sure if it's my end or not.
What about? Let me just try and throw my phone out the room. Any good now?
No. Well, actually, I think it is actually. Oh, it's back again. I don't know where that's come from.
Right, let me plug. What about now? If I change microphone?
Yeah, that's a lot clearer. Can you hear me? Okay?
Is that better?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll carry on from there. Obviously, I'll edit that bit out.
Yeah. No, just leave it in.
Why not? We'll see if anyone's listening. See if they leave a review for this one.
Yeah, that's it.
Great podcast, but it needs to work on the editing.
Yeah.
Innovation. So you head up the roadmap in terms of new features, functionality, research, and that's something obviously you're hugely passionate about and focus on.
Yeah. So when we built the business, we didn't want to have massive sales team. We saw all these other review platforms out there, and they had these huge sales teams, very small development teams, and I just went, that's not how a tech company should look. You know, a tech company should have a bigger development team than a sales team. You know, the product, if it's good, will sell itself.
Yeah.
So we developer heavy. You know, we have more developers than we do salespeople, and we always will do. That's in our culture.
Yeah.
And that helps us evolve in the market much quicker, really, than our peers. Our pricing, we've always wanted to control our pricing and keep it as low as possible, because collecting reviews, as we've just spoke about, it's not rocket science. If you get it right, it's not rocket science. It shouldn't cost you tens of thousands a year. It shouldn't. It should just, we're not cheap by any means. We get clients coming to us, oh, why are you so cheap? And I'm like, no, we're not cheap. We're just not ridiculously expensive like some of the other guys in the market who are squeezing you a little bit too much, maybe. And kind of that's how we deal with those bigger guys. And we deal with word of mouth. So we're fanatical about offering a high level of service and trying to get one of our clients as became a client, making them into a brand advocate and getting them to talk about the brand. And growing like that, growing the old-fashioned way, the word of mouth way. A review company that doesn't grow like that is weird to me. It's alien, and a tech company that isn't developer heavy is not a tech company to me.
It's a good sign if you're looking for a review company, that you look at the reviews of the review company, you're going to get quite a good feel for what the journey is going to be like, I think.
And I think we, over the last 5 years, we've really built these brand advocates. And I think if you go on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn and go, I'm looking for a review company, our name will be mentioned by some of our clients who see that and say, actually, try reviews.io. They're really good. The first introduction to reviews platforms is probably by Trustpilot cold calling a company. I mean, that is, if we're going to especially in the UK, not in Australia and not in America, but in the UK, that is how most e-coms hear about review platforms.
Yeah.
That is by, their cold calling is super aggressive. And we've never done that. So for us, they kind of go, oh, we've got Trustpilot on a case, they're ringing us every time. And people then Google other review platforms or put something on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then our brand will get mentioned. And we're, so growth has been more organic than forced.
Yeah. No,
and I think that's benefited us, because I don't think we could have developed and built a customer focused solution like we have without that.
So impeccable sort of customer focus, and that customer at the heart of everything you do, which obviously is very much a major part of the culture, but it is the product that you're selling as well. As you're basically, it's reviewing other firms, and obviously if they have the right culture, so it's just like that. It's almost like an amazing place to be, I think, in terms of that culture is your business, and I think that really comes through with, like I said, in all your marketing and everything that you do.
I mean, we are probably, sometimes I get told off on LinkedIn for being too passionate. Some people, I had somebody say the other day, oh, you're too strong, you're too passionate about this, in kind words. They said it nicely, and I was like, you know what, I am sometimes. I am a little bit too aggressive sometimes against our competitors, and that's it. It's just me, unfortunately.
Hey ho, isn't it? It's working for you, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, we're doing okay, so we'll just keep doing it for now. We'll ride that horse till the end.
So we're gonna go a little bit personal now on a few questions. We've touched on reviews hugely, and I think there's some amazing content there, guys. That are listening in. I would say even maybe hit the pause now, have a little think about, right, what review system have you got in place, or if you've not got a review system in place, and have a look at what you're doing to collect them. Have a look at whether you've got them hooked into your paid ads. We're talking about Google Shopping. Is that element working? Quite often you may have reviews and listing in, but you've not actually connected the dots with Google Shopping. So then you're losing a bit of a percentage point or two on your conversion rates. Let's have a chat about. I know you did a podcast with your son. How did that come about?
So it was very, very difficult. I'm going to be honest. To open up about what me and my family have been going through with my son, it's been tough, and it took me a long time to be brave enough to do it. Hudson has a very rare genetic disease that means he's non-verbal, non-talking, walking, and it was mitochondrial week. He has a rare mitochondrial disease. It was mitochondrial week, and I thought, you know what, bite the bullet. And I just went outside and I did a post with him, and I said, this is Hudson, this is my son. He's the happiest little boy in the world, as you can see. And, it was just a off the cuff thing I did. I sat on the swing and did this video. He's a great little boy. It's very difficult to go through, and I kind of I'm trying to do a lot, sort of my hobby at the minute is trying to do things to make life easier for some of these kids, and to try and get more help. In America, we've just set up a lab in America, in Buffalo, in New Jersey. We've just set up our first lab. We've sponsored a lab, Reviews.io has. We've just invested $1 million into the lab, and we've got scientists there now working on stem cell and genetic testing on mice at the moment, with Buffalo University, and that's going really great. We're just trying to do as much as we can to help Hudson and other families who are coming through. And it's a long road. We're in for a long road, but he's such a happy little boy.
I've seen obviously the various things you've put out.
I've tried to involve him a little bit more now in what I'm doing, the podcasts and things like that. And he's just such a happy little boy. He's a delight. I'm going to take him for a walk after this.
He'll be waiting for you. Yeah.
Yeah, he will be. He's a superstar, but it's a long road.
So the lab in America, we can link to that, can we? And
yeah. I'll send you the details for that. So we basically, when Hudson got diagnosed by the NHS, it was horrible. We went into this room. We found this mutation on his DNA. It was part of the 100,000 Genome Project. And they went, here's a piece of paper, basically with everything they know on this disease. And it's called FDXR. And they went, off you go. I was like, what? We didn't know anything. They didn't tell us one thing because they didn't know anything. There's 32 people in the world. And on the name of the form, there was all these people who were working on this disease, who had identified this disease. And I emailed all of them, connected with them. I did everything I do to, probably win new business. I used all my skills, like LinkedIn and everything. And I got hold of this guy. He was in Cincinnati at the time. Last year, he rang me out of the blue and said, "Hi, we've had a breakthrough. I'm going to send you a video." And it's a video of the mice that have had their DNA slightly altered using CRISPR, and these mice were running around drinking normal, and it was amazing. I was like, "Whoa, what are we doing?" And I said, "Right, well, we'll work with you, and we want to try and move this forward." So he said, "Right, I'm moving to Buffalo University. Would you be interested in doing a partnership there?" So we set the lab up. We invested $1 million straight away to get the lab up and running. And it's going well. They're getting good results. It's just, it's only in early days. We hope at some point we'll get it to human testing. At some point we've gone out and found all these people who have the disease. Now we think there's a lot more, but the testing is so hard to do to know whether you've got it. There's probably hundreds of thousands of people got this disease, but they've never known. That's kind of what we're doing at the minute. So it's pretty exciting, but tough at the same time, really emotional.
I see you talk about it, and obviously I saw your
I try and be a bit vocal about it on LinkedIn and try and involve him a little bit, because he is part of my life. He is part of what makes me.
So trying to balance that father piece and that work piece, I think it resonate in different ways to a lot of people listening in, even more so right now when we're all at home with our children. How do you balance? Any advice you would give to the guys listening to the podcast?
So difficult. So difficult. I mean, having a kid with special needs is super, super difficult. And especially during these times, I've taken on the role of physiotherapist. Now I do all his physio, and it's like, those people, I've got so much respect for pediatric physiotherapists. Those people are so strong. Look, this is what I have on next to my desk. Because I'm trying to make my hands stronger. So I sit here doing this all day, because you have to do so many movements with his body to try. And I realized I'm so weak. And I'm not, but in this area, I'm like, these ladies, used to be this little lady who used to come in from the NHS to do his physio, and I'd be like, "Oh, she's all right." And now I'm like, her hands must have been made of steel the way she's moving.
Understanding of the skills they've got and the strength they've got, and
so I've got absolutely nothing but respect. But it's difficult. You've just got to take a lot of breaks, and you've got to focus, on your family. It's just really, obviously with the pandemic, it's just put extra pressure on all families, and more so with kids with special needs, because they need help and they're probably not getting it at the minute, for their learning. We've not had a speech therapist in 8 months, and my wife's learning and trying how to do it, but it's difficult. And it's just it's just an extremely tough period in time for everyone. Yeah. It really is. But you know, like I say, I'm going to finish this. I'm taking him for a walk. I'll stick my headphones in. I'll probably do a call on the way, and you know, I try and
just balance it out. And,
yeah. You know, I've involved him in the podcast, so every week we get me and him sit and do the podcast, and I've built these little buttons for him, and he can press, and the buttons the buttons do the talking. And it's you know, it's so difficult. It's so difficult keeping him entertained at the moment. And all kids.
Very, very busy. Very, very busy. Sort of.
I know. I do. So when at 5:30 we close the UK office, and dead at 5, the California office opens, and then the Australia office opens. So I'll get a call at 2 a.m. and it'll be, something's happened. The servers are down. We're getting hacked, or like something will be going on. And it's just, we run 24 hours. So pretty much I have to run 24 hours.
So you can operate on minimal sleep then, can you?
Oh yeah, I'm full 4 hours now. I'm, you know.
Are you really 4 hours?
Well, no. But at a push, I can go.
Yeah. Not regularly, but yeah, beyond 4 hours.
I don't like it.
No. No, I can't do that at all. But
no, I try. You know, we sleep when he sleeps, so it's like if he goes sleep, we're like,
gone.
Sleep now, and so it's been a tough period, but getting there. Hopefully, with it, you know, this vaccine news, I think, has lifted everyone's spirits.
Yeah, definitely has, hasn't it? I think, yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Brilliant. So,
no problem.
A lot of TV ads going around at the moment, a lot of Christmas ads. Do you have a particular favourite at the moment on the sort of Christmas ads?
They get better every year. They, you know, more budget gets thrown at Christmas ads every year. Probably, I loved the ones that Amazon did last year. And I think they've really upped the game again this year.
Yeah.
So the Amazon ones, I think whereas it used to be John Lewis used to the boys to beat.
They're getting some competition now, aren't they?
I think the Amazon ones
for a few years, haven't they? Now, I think these obviously have got all their own teams now.
The Amazon ones, I don't know. I think they're good. They've done a good job of creating a connection between you and the company. That's what they're doing. They've got obviously a lot of customers in there. They've got a lot of people in that new ad. And it's just building connections. That's what they're doing. They're doing a great job of it. Obviously, Amazon's flying at the minute. You know, I should have invested many years ago.
I have to admit, I did get a few bits and bobs from there at the beginning of lockdown, but I wish I did it obviously 5 years ago.
I mean, saying that, I bought a Tesla car and I invested in the company at the same time, and I wish I wouldn't have bought the car and just put all the money into the company, because I'd be doing quite well.
They've had a bit ridiculous, aren't they?
But they've got, I think when I bought the car they were so low, and now they're at, I think it's 500 again after a split. Yeah, it just keeps going up. But you know, that's the tech stock market at the minute, just going up and up and up.
So I like to finish every episode with a book recommendation. It can be any book you like. It can be a book on reviews. It could be a book on mindset. It can be a book, anything that sort of resonated with you recently, a book that you've read.
So I try and read a lot. You know, as a CEO, I think all good CEOs continuously try and learn. You know, that's something you've got to do. Even if you're a one man and going to a two man, keep learning. And that's, I'm a big advocate of that. And that's how you know, reach your goals. Is you can't stop. With what's happening in my personal life, I've not been able to read as much, so I do a lot of listening. So I use Audible. At the minute I'm listening to a book called Hooked. I don't know who writes it, but if you're starting out and you're starting out in tech in general, whether it's agency side, e-commerce side, or you want to run a a tool, a tech tool, a SaaS tool. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel is probably my favorite. It's kind of a must read. Ben Horowitz, The Hard Thing About Hard Things is amazing. That's kind of a follow on. But 0 to 1, it just makes you think a little bit differently, and it has some good little stories within that about like Elon Musk in the early days and how PayPal came about, where they met at a cafe in the middle. Like I think PayPal was over here and Elon Musk's company was over here, and they were arguing, and they said, right, let's meet in the middle at this truce in this cafe, and that's where they kind of nailed out the deal to become.
We'll link that all up in the show notes. And that's
it's a great book. It's a great book.
Fine after we finished. Well, thank you so much, Callum, for your time. I really enjoyed that. That was fantastic. So many takeaways, so many great actionable, implementable things, and a lot of things to think about specifically about running a business, and obviously reviews specifically. If the guys that are listening want to find out more about you and more about the company, what's the best way to do that?
I'm all over LinkedIn. I do a lot on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you've got any questions, I'm normal. I'll just answer them. Like even if it's not about reviews, it's about something else. Connect with me on LinkedIn and just ask. Otherwise, go on to reviews.io, sign up for a demo, mention the podcast, and I'm sure the guys will look after you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being